Hey, we are the Lab Doctors. I'm Amanda.
I'm Dorothy.
And I'm Zhao Yong.
We are biomedical researchers who realized we still have a lot to learn about science.
So why not join us on this quest?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lab Doctors podcast. So this week we're going to be talking about
the impact of AI, specifically language models like ChatGPT on our social interactions. So any initial thoughts?
I love ChatGPT.
I don't see why it will affect my social. It's not like I chat with it instead of chatting to people.
You're thinking social in that way. But I think I'll just talk about like what my perspective is, which was like one of the more recent episodes of South Park. I don't know if you all know what South Park is.
Yes, I know what South Park is. Okay. Don't watch it. No, it's a cartoon. It's an animated series.
Adult for adults.
Is it?
Yeah, I feel it's meant for adults. It's highly inappropriate for children.
I was thinking of Linkin Park.
Oh, no. So there's this episode where the boys were using ChatGPT to reply to their girlfriends. Because the AI was more capable of generating appreciative, emotionally vulnerable language that the boys were incapable of writing themselves.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, overly exaggerated satire aside, it made me wonder what the future of communication would look like. Because I feel like I already use ChatGPT to reply 80% of my emails. Because a lot of times I want to write a lot of angry language, but like I know I can't.
Stay professional.
Yeah. And so like ChatGPT just writes it well for me.
Oh, that's so scary. It's like you don't know who is real.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would argue that like in a workplace setting, how real can you get, you know? Like,
because you need to.
Who has the real skills to reply email properly?
Is it a skill though? Like, I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
But I feel like it should be a baseline thing. If we have ChatGPT, like it kind of evens the playing field. Assuming everyone uses it.
Which is why I feel like this study is interesting for me, because I kind of want to understand how using these AI learning language models can actually affect our perception of like people and like how we interact. Because sometimes I feel like when I talk to a customer service person or whatever, and they are obviously reading from a script, it's like, then just give me the script. I don't need you to read it to me, you know? Like, what's the point? Like, it's very disingenuous. Yeah, and so I'm like, oh, would that have the same effect? Would using AI chatbots have that same effect? But anyway, in case listeners don't know what ChatGPT is, here is the response it gave me when I asked it what it was. It said, Hello, I am ChatGPT, a language model developed by OpenAI. I was designed to generate human-like responses to natural language prompts, which means I can have conversations with people like you! ! I'm trained on a massive amount of text data, which allows me to understand and generate responses on a wide variety of topics. How can I help you today?
So scary.
Wait, do you use ChatGPT?
Yeah, sometimes. But not to reply emails so far.
Oh my God, so good.
I use it for grocery shopping, like, you know, you can ask it like, oh, I have this in the fridge. What should I make?
Oh.
I want to make this. I have this already. What can I make? What can I substitute? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, if I have it as like a Google Assistant or like a Siri, that would be like so good. But I think they're moving towards that. They're trying to make it conversational.
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah. So a research team led by Malte Young from Cornell looked into the question whether using AI communications will affect social interactions. And for this study, they refer to AI-generated responses as smart replies.
Okay.
Don't know why, but like, okay, whatever.
So it's not restricted to GPT?
No, they designed their own interface, but it's essentially like smart replies.
But there's apparently a lot of ChatGPT alternatives also now.
But going into the methods, involve randomly assigning 219 pairs of participants to use or not use smart replies during a conversation about like a policy issue. So all of these people work in the same company, and then it's just this particular issue that they hypothetically brought up. So the conditions included both participants having access to smart replies, only one participant having access, or neither having access to smart replies. And then they measured a few different outputs. The first one is perceived dominance and affiliation. So they use this thing called the Revised Interpersonal Adjective Scale, or RIAS.
What?
IRAS. It's a self-reported questionnaire that measures different aspects of a person's personality traits in different social situations. So dominance in the RIAS refers to the extent which a person is assertive, competitive, and forceful in social interactions. High scores on this means that a person is more likely to take charge and control of the situation, while low scores on dominance indicate that a person is more submissive and willing to follow the lead of others.
So it's not good or bad, right? It's just like your style.
It's just whether or not you are more likely, like in a scenario of a conversation, whether or not I'm more likely to lead a conversation and where it's going, or like, yeah, I'm just going to like reply to your prompts, that kind of thing. Then affiliation refers to the extent in which a person is friendly, warm, sociable in social interactions. So high scores means that a person is more likely to seek out social connections and enjoy spending time with others, whereas low scores indicate that a person is more reserved or independent in social situations. So that's one. Then the next output they looked at was also perceived cooperative communication. So basically how cooperative a person is in a conversation. Then the next one is perceived smart reply use. So the people are blinded. They don't know whether or not the other person is using smart replies.
Is this person using GPT
There's
to
so
reply
much
to
doubt
me?
in the world now.
And then the next one is also communication speed. So how fast a person takes to reply another person.
That depends on whether they're typing behind the com.
Whether GPT is high traffic use.
yeah.
No, but also, especially for this kind of issues like policy-based, you kind of want to reply fast so that you can get things settled fast also. So if me typing out an email is going to increase the amount of time that it takes for me to finish this conversation, then technically the amount of time that leads to like an output is also slower. Yeah. So that's why they wanted to look at this. And then the last one is messaging sentiment, which is whether or not they felt that the interaction with the other person was positive or negative.
Okay.
So going to the result, do you want to take a guess about?
Okay, I feel like dominance, maybe the smart replies would be low score.
Oh.
That's what I feel. Maybe it's the way I talk to GPT. It's always like giving me, it's always replying to me. It's not like trying to sway me. I guess that's part of it. They try not to.
They're like quite neutral in their answers.
Yeah. And like you only get the answers according to what your prompt is. The second one?
Is affiliation. So it's whether or not a person is perceived as friendly, warm, and sociable.
Yes. I think it would be more if you use the chat.
Okay, next.
Cooperative communication.
Of course.
Okay.
I mean, like, also because like GPT always like speaks very politely and like generally agrees with what you say, even though it's wrong.
Or like it also acknowledges like
both
the
sides.
other person's,
So I feel like that's part of cooperation.
The next one is communication speed.
Depends. Might be no change.
Yeah.
Okay. Then lastly, messaging sentiment. So whether or not the interaction was positive or negative ultimately.
Personally, I feel like positive.
Positive, yeah.
Okay, so I feel like your hit, like some are like completely correct. Some are, I think you are thinking from the perspective of I'm just talking to a chatbot instead of I'm talking to a person that will prompt the chatbot. So...
No, I was thinking of a person who would prompt a chat.
Oh, okay. I think Amanda was thinking.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the study found that people prefer to use AI in general, like to reply.
The person talking to
a person who is either initiating a conversation or replying to a conversation, regardless, they just prefer to use the AI. So that led to faster communication because I think it's more of like, I don't really need to gather the information and I don't really need to think about how to phrase something, and then I can just use AI and they'll figure it out for me. And then it also led to more emotionally positive language, which again, I feel like, that's why I use ChatGPT, because I know I will not phrase certain things in a more positive sounding way. Okay. However, when participants think their partner is using more algorithmic responses, meaning like they're using the AI, they perceive them as less cooperative and more dominant.
You fake.
Yeah. So despite this, actual use of AI-generated responses resulted in communications being viewed as more cooperative and affiliative. So it's like I don't know whether or not you're using. If I suspect that you're using, I think you're more dominant and less cooperative. But actually when, they check the results and it's like, oh, the other person was really using it, the results often led to like the opposite response, which is like...
So it's a perception versus reality thing.
Yes, exactly. So like if I think you are using AI, I actually like feel like, oh, you're less cooperative. But if you are actually using AI and I don't know that you are, then I feel like you're actually being more cooperative and like being more warm, friendly, sociable.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that's expected, right?
Is it?
Yeah, because the AI would help you get a more like PC response, I think.
Oh yeah. But like, why would people think, like, why would me thinking that you use AI sway my feelings of your dominance and cooperation, I guess?
Because maybe you are not capable with your own emotional state or whatever, or your own current knowledge to write an email that is, or to write a reply that is
professional.
Correct. So then you need to rely on an AI. Therefore, maybe inherently you are more dominant in that sense.
Like you will, because you are naturally more dominant, so you would naturally want to assert more, but you choose to use AI to make yourself seem more cooperative.
Correct.
Oh.
So it's more like you were incapable in that sense, and therefore it's more
so
of
you're like projecting your insecurity onto the other person a bit.
As in like it just makes it sound like the AI will help you become better.
Oh, so it's like a bit like, oh, you're being fake, you're being disingenuous.
Yes, to a certain extent.
That's what I thought. For me, it was like, oh, the other person is being fake. Like I'm just, again, talking to a script instead of talking to an actual person, and it just feels very disingenuous. But what they gave, the reasons, was a bit more different. So in general, it's like they pointed it more towards people's general fear of artificial intelligence.
I fear it, but can't live without it.
I constantly thank ChatGPT all the time. I use my prompts to like...
Same.
Yeah, so then I would be like, Zhao Yong is actually in real life a more maybe hot-tempered or something like that. But because he used the chat to reply me, therefore the answer seemed like, oh, actually he's quite a nice guy. But deep down he's not. That's my impression.
You're like masking your true feelings.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I think as in AI is good, it's just what you use it for. And it's good in a workplace setting or whatever where you really want to give these kind of PC answers, but it's just, you cannot see people's true colours anymore.
Yeah. But I feel like that's good. I don't want to see your true colours.
That's true. Because then you have like additional things you need to worry about at work when you should just be focusing on work.
Yeah.
Rather than hating on people.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that would also help with communication speed also. But that's assuming everyone uses it, which at this point I feel like it's no.
Not yet, yeah.
Honestly, it eases so much social anxiety as well. Like all these things just stress me out, man. Like if everyone just like...
But nowadays I realized that I should just hit the reply button, like the send email button without thinking, because it's like, whatever lah. Send already, you cannot do it.
Okay, so overall, the researchers suggest that AI has the potential to help people communicate more quickly and improve interpersonal perceptions in everyday conversations. But the potential effects on the emotional aspects of language and the long-term implications of AI in human connection needs to be further investigated, because again, how this affects the way we perceive the world and how we react to certain things, and whether or not our reactions are genuine and natural, we still don't know. And whether or not maybe writing an angry email is a good outlet, I don't know.
Yeah.
It lets people know that
you're truly angry.
Or like, hey, I'm struggling or something, and then at least it's a signal to people. But like if you just mask everything with AI, then are we truly being emotionally intelligent?
As much as I love AI and ChatGPT, I don't think it replaces, like a lot of people are worried that it's going to replace, but to me personally, it doesn't replace a lot of things. I just use it as an assistant. So it doesn't replace like genuine connections. It doesn't replace art to me. Like I was reading this op-ed about using AI to write stories. And basically the argument is like, it's not really writing its own story. It's like ripping off like other people's stories.
Yeah, but then if you think about it, it's also like everything is so referential to each other now.
Yeah, but then like,
it's like
there's still that like human contribution to it, I guess, if you were to write a story.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't
mean,
know.
it is just an opinion of people. Like, I mean, but I just don't feel like it should replace art. It should replace all the day-to-day things that like don't require like human input.
Okay.
So it doesn't replace all of that. It doesn't replace art. It doesn't replace like humans to me.
At this point.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, like, who knows? Maybe in the future.
But the thing about AI is because it's a prediction, they use information from a lot of places, right? The information still needs to come from somewhere. So I'm just thinking when it plateaus off to like everyone doesn't need to do anything anymore, then where's the AI going to get this information from?
Maybe it has all the information it ever needs already. Or like it ever needs
No,
to.
but for example, like science is still improving. They don't have answers to certain things. So you need to go and get those answers.
But I'm pretty sure people are working on prediction models to be able to do that.
No, but they still have to like check it for themselves.
Yeah, at this point. But I feel like maybe, I don't know, 100 years, 500 years down the line.
As in, are you going into like robots carrying out experiment for us?
No. I'm going into robots don't even need to carry out experiments and they can predict how like a certain experiment would turn out with absolute certainty. Or okay, at least not absolute, maybe confidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very far-fetched, but
I think it's possible. It's just given enough time. You know?
yeah. But I think at the current stage, that's why there's a lot of, or rather people are coming up with like policies or certain rules as to how you can use the AI at your workplace or what, or like at schools, because it can be easily abused. And like what Amanda said, like about writing your own story, writing your own papers and stuff like that, your own assignments, it becomes very dangerous when it's abused. I think it's helpful when you look at it like to summarize a lot of information instead of reading a review paper. You rewrite.
Yeah.
You
That's
summarize the reviews. It's like an umbrella review. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't like copy and paste that into...
Yeah, actually I attended this talk about the use of ChatGPT, especially in education settings. They were also talking about educational institutions needing to change assessment criteria so that it kind of ties in the use of all these language learning models because it's an inevitability and at this point there's no way to distinguish whether or not something is AI generated or not.
Yeah, this
So
scary
maybe
part.
it's about making the assessment include using these language learning models. So basically it's like using ChatGPT write an essay. So like people know that this is expected of them and everyone kind of have the equal playing field again, like knowing what to write and knowing what information to take or not becomes part of that skill. Yeah. Because I feel like, again, with technology and how it's going, it's an inevitability that this becomes part of human life, I feel. It's just like how smartphones suddenly became part of human life and now it's a need in our modern world rather than just a want.
Yeah.
Or rather access to the internet is a need and not just a want anymore.
Yeah. True.
So yeah, so I feel like it's about being like progressing with the technology rather than like being like technology phobic or like progress phobic. Yeah.
Actually, very true.
And as usual, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify. A like and a comment would really help us out.
You can also follow us on our social media, Instagram, Twitter or Facebook, and feel free to DM us any questions.
Alternatively, you can email us at thelabdoctors@gmail.com. We'll post the links in the episode description, so check that out if you're interested. Thank you.
Bye.